Coming up this week on the Afrojournal.
We've received so much money. Like, to me, I see Africa like we're sugar babies. Like, we're collecting, but the thing is, we're sugar babies that they also capitalize on, right? So it's kind of like we're collecting money, you know, like big sugar daddy, China, America, all these guys, they'll bring money dump on us. And then they're like, okay, the only thing we want is your resources. And then maybe we can get some land here and there and things like that. And then the corrupt governments will now be signing us off like that.
There's no way we're sugar babies. We're a starved, abused child. That's what I believe that we are.
You think? Okay.
I believe that we're starved and abused. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Afrojournal podcast, where we aim to bridge the gap between the African diaspora and the continent through open dialogue, shared experience, and good vibes. And today, we have another
banger.
Exactly. This, is your boy, Peter and Kichuki M. Chibuzo, Aliogo Jr., Extra Luggage, Chef Pirero. You guys know the vibes, always.
And it's your, glazed donuts, your chocolate, your hot chocolate, no marshmallows in it, just plain hot chocolate, because all you need is me. You don't need no extras. Bole tasty benekume.
Energy, and it's your toasted caramel, your vintage chocolates. And today is your philosopher, like I'm not copying pizza, but because of the topic,
nigga, you're copying
I have
me,
to
bro.
bring a different kind of vibe. Is your economist, Chisom, AGK, Jeremiah, Okafor.
Why not politician?
Nah, man, I'm not a politician. I'm a straight shooter.
Okay. As you can see from the title, this is a very serious topic, but we're going to make it fun and educational at the same time. So the episode is China versus the West. The Scramble for Africa 2.0. Oh, wow.
Energy.
Some crazy vibes.
Energy. Crazy topic.
Topic. But this is a topic that we're actually really interested in. I think this is a segment of, African podcasting that I don't feel is really discussed a lot. Mm-hmm. We have the relationship ones, the advice ones, like life advice and stuff like that. But in terms of political or economical effects on Africa, we don't really have those kind of discussions. So I think this is a good way to start on that.
Yeah, and if we're going to understand the motherland, we have to understand the effects of the outside forces on it. Mm-hmm. And how we got to where we are today, and how we can move forward too.
Yeah. So let's start on this. What exactly is the beef between China and the West? Why is this even a discussion?
Peter, you speak Chinese, right?
I used to speak.
It's
not Chinese.
Drop some Chinese for us.
It's not Chinese. It is Mandarin. Okay.
Mandarin.
What's the difference?
Chinese is like a group of people. Mandarin is the actual language, because there are people in China who don't speak Mandarin. They speak Cantonese only. You know what I mean?
Wait, so Chinese isn't a language?
No, it's not a language.
Ooh.
Fun fact.
You learn every day. Alright, drop some Mandarin for us then. Drop some Mandarin for us.
I haven't spoken
for our Mandarin fans.
Jesus Christ. I'll just
give us something. Okay. Just say our ladies, you're looking nice.
I'll just say Woani. It sounded so dry, right? Because I haven't spoken this language in 3 years.
So put some energy inside, man. Come on. Woani, what's that mean, fam?
I love you.
Hey, right back. Share.
I love how that's the one you remembered.
Shout out to all my Chinese girls. All right, let's get right into this episode. So, what exactly is the beef between China and the West, and why is this even a thing that we even need to discuss? You know what I mean? Yeah. So, do you want to get right into it, or do I start myself?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think we can start from Africa itself, right? Like,
I want to establish why is this and even a issue. But you can start. You can start
that's what I'm saying. So it's kind of like, I mean, because they are fighting for Africa.
Yeah,
for sure. That's really what it is. Like the Scramble for Africa 2.0, right? And we can go back to how, like, pretty much since the dawn of time, everybody has been hustling for Africa, from slave trade to colonialism to all these things. Like, everyone is trying to tap into Africa's resources.
Yeah.
So this is also like another version of that in a sense, but it's not necessarily as straightforward as it was. Kind of like how China and America are trying to see who can have the most impact. Let's just say America. China and the West is trying to see who can have the most influence on Africa and their resources. That's, to me, that's really what the crux of it
Yeah,
is.
that's
What the
broad.
foundation of it is.
That's what we're going
Yeah.
to dive into. But I just wanted to explain the broad rivalry for people who don't know.
Yep.
Who like people
Yep.
like Bola is kind of like a novice of this. She doesn't really even understand.
I don't know.
Yeah, she doesn't even understand the rivalry that's taking place. So
Even me too. I'm not that like enlightened in that facet of things, but it's things I read up on every now and then.
yeah,
you know?
I'm pretty. You guys know I love politics. I read up on all the shit
Yep.
and stuff like that. I think
Yeah.
the main reasons for the U.S. and China divide is the economic and political reasons. So as you know,
Yeah.
China is a rising power. It's the second
biggest economy,
second biggest in
world.
the world, and it's on the path to pass the USA as the first.
Yep.
Yeah.
And obviously, when a country is gaining power, it's becoming a global power as well. And
Yep.
America has always been first for an extremely long time, and this is kind of like its rival that is coming up and coming, if that makes sense. It's about to surpass it. And not only that it is a rival in itself, it's a communist country,
Yeah.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense. And you know how Americans love their communists. So that's a
We
whole
use love. We use love.
yeah, so that's a whole nother political layer on top of that.
Yep.
There are multiple of reasons, but another reason is the economic side. There's a huge economic deficit in the trade that happens between China and the US.
Yeah.
I think one of Trump's policies was to, fix that trade deficit, right, between China
When
and
you
the
say
US.
there's a deficit, what do you mean, fam?
So in terms of their trade, US imports more of China's goods than China imports more of the US.
Okay,
so
got you.
US spends $300 billion. This is quotation. $300 billion on goods. China may spend 100, and that's a $200 deficit, right? $200 billion deficit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So some people have issues with that. You know what I mean?
So they're trying to balance it out,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
that
China
was one of,
doesn't control the market too much.
Yeah, that was one of the complaints people had about China in the United States. Another reason is Taiwan and Hong Kong. As you guys know, what happened in Hong Kong in 2020 when...
Wait, what exactly happened?
So basically, there was a anti-government protest that happened in China. That was a democratic movement that was happening in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong is kind of like this special place that was a British colony, but it was given back to China in the 1990s. And it had like a set of different rules than mainland China. All right.
Okay.
So with this set of rules that were established, Hong Kong became a booming place for internationals to make trade and have. It was kind of like a gateway towards China, and that was the status it was given, like a democratic area zone for people to get access into the Chinese market.
So pretty much they're not run by the Chinese Communist Party.
No, they have a different system. That's where I'll put it. It's not as if they're not run. It's within it's within China, but it has a different system. I think they call it one country, two systems. I believe that's the official name of the policies or the set of rules that were established in Hong Kong. And obviously, when there was a democratic movement, and you guys probably heard the news, there was a whole crackdown on it. And the world was wary about that. Like, China, like, you promised us to leave Hong Kong alone and let the democratic movement thrive and stuff like that, and say that it was different from communist China. But obviously, when China, crossed that line, people started looking at it extremely different. And also, don't forget about Taiwan itself. So you guys know the history about Taiwan?
Taiwan is a different story, yeah.
Taiwan is a whole
give
different
us a
story.
brief little...
So the history about Taiwan is that during the Chinese Civil War in the 1940s or 50s, I believe, the Democratic Republic of China, the official one, the government during that time, was exiled to Taiwan. They lost against Chairman Mao's army or rebellious communist army, and that's the current government that's in place right now in China. So they've never officially cancelled the war, right? It's still kind of ongoing unofficially, right?
Yeah.
But Taiwan is kind of like its own governing body, right? That became
it's Taiwan
democratic.
Taiwan is part of China, but then they broke off. Is what you're saying?
So are they like
No,
their
no.
own like independent?
Yeah, it's kind of you guys know what happened between Sudan and South Sudan?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So like some people in Taiwan believe there should be an independent nation. Some people don't believe that. But it's kind of 50-50. China still claims Taiwan. Taiwan is trying
that one I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Taiwan is trying to say, we make our own decisions, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's very mixed up. It's not clear,
Yeah.
basically, what's going on. But China, with all its might and all its power, says that China is one. Taiwan is always going to be its own, blah, 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 blah. That's China's stance. While Taiwan is saying that, we decide our own fate. You understand what I'm trying to say? And that's the whole political divide.
So pretty much it's kind of like very similar to the Biafra Nigeria thing, except they actually kind of broke off.
Yeah.
China doesn't recognize them as a different country. They're still recognizing them as part of China.
Yeah,
Taiwan is like, nah, bro, I'm not part of you guys anymore.
Okay. Exactly. So that is, and obviously, you know how United States is. Anywhere democratic nations are, in terms of next to communism, we support you, Taiwan.
So America recognizes Taiwan as a country?
No, America doesn't. That's the funny thing. America doesn't recognize Taiwan as a country.
So Taiwan doesn't get a vote in the UN?
No, they don't. Because of China is on the
that's tough.
Is on the top board where they can veto that. But what US does basically is kind of sneaky. It's not as if they don't acknowledge, but they don't what do you call it?
They don't dismiss.
They don't dismiss. Exactly.
Yeah.
So China so they are playing in between that gray line. That's where the US is. And that is one of Biden's main, issues that he has to solve during his presidency with that Taiwan, and China rivalry.
Yeah.
So that's another front that US, the West, and China are battling on. Obviously, and the obvious one is obviously the political divide. China is a communist country, and Americans have a history of, not liking communist countries.
Capitalism.
Exactly. Not capitalist and democratic. So that's one front that, because of China is gaining a sphere of influence outside this region.
Wait, so when you say, because you're linking democracy to communism.
No.
Right.
Yeah, I'm talking those rivalries. So democracy and communism, America is democratic, China is communist. You understand?
So when you say so this is communist in terms of how they structure their government.
Yes.
Not necessarily a system of economy that they're running.
No.
Okay.
It's very when you're talking about systems of economy, it's very complex. China has some capitalist sides of things and some communist and socialist sides of things. So in America has some socialist policies and also some, free market policies. But in terms of the structure of their government, both are complete. China is a one-party state. United States is a it's a multiple-party state, but there are two major ones.
Yeah. My thing is that America is we know America is a capitalistic state. Right. So in that sense, we know they are democratic and capitalistic. Right. In terms of so is China known for as a capitalistic state or a communistic state or
China is known
as
a communist state, but has some capitalist elements. They call it communism with China characteristics. That's what the Chinese like to call it.
I bet.
You know what I mean?
Communism with China character. Okay.
Yeah, with Chinese characteristics. So another issue of China versus West is militarization of China.
Military, man.
China is getting a lot of military power. You know what I mean? Obviously, US is like, yo, what you doing from over there?
Fam?
All right, you trying to
have the biggest guns?
Exactly.
America, they are so funny. Is the entitlement for me is the fact that they're we want to be the ones that are on top, and no one else should be able to come close.
I like that energy personally.
You like the energy personally? Yeah.
I like the energy. That's what
I mean, that's pretty much how the world is competing. But to me, it's just why do we trust America at the top?
Because America has systems in place where it can correct itself.
You can correct yourself.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, just as full disclaimer, to be honest, I'd rather have America on top than China.
Obviously,
Because China, man, those guys are very. Let me never say some.
China is a completely different nation than.
It's an interesting place.
US because of China is a homogeneous country. 95% of its population are Han Chinese, while the other 5% are minorities. You know what I mean? So how can you have a extremely homogeneous nation to have the same rules and playbook as a extremely diverse nation as America is?
Yep.
They have two different things to completely worry about. Even though they are still people, but they have different cultures and perspectives. You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean that's why they have their communism with Chinese characteristics.
Yeah.
And they form their own thing. Exactly. Yeah, but I guess we can bring it back to Africa.
Yes.
Right.
So let's deep down into the relationship between China and Africa.
Yep.
All right. So the current China that we're talking about right now, which is the Communist Party of China, the history dates back into the 1960s. They've always had communication between them within various nations. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
And it's not until China's economic rise, which is between the 1990s and 2000s, that the relationship became stronger. Now, one of the reasons why we're even having this conversation right now is a big thing that China is trying to do right now, which is called the Belt and Road Initiative. All right.
Okay.
That is China's economic development strategy to become like kind of like a global influence official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
If they're able to accomplish this goal, China is basically like has basically kicked America's ass 100% if they're able to accomplish what they want to do, because their sphere of influence will be so large across Europe and in Africa itself that it would just be hard for America to have
They become the new,
to have some sort of and the West is obviously going to be like, yo, we want to be the dominant power, you know, and stuff like that. So that's the current history between China and Africa right now, which is called the Belt and Road Initiative, where, you know, China comes into different African nations, right, with a set of rules. Like, with
a set of rules.
Yeah, with a set of rules. Like, China won't do business with you if you acknowledge Taiwan as a country.
I mean, they do.
No, they don't.
But they do less.
No, they don't.
They don't. Like, I mean, actually, that's a good point, because actually, there's only one African nation that still acknowledges Taiwan as a country.
China does basically business with 52 out of 45. 52 out of 54. 52 out of 54 countries in Africa, right?
Yep.
And the one, and I believe like one of them officially recognized Taiwan as a country. And obviously China doesn't do business with them. Yeah. So the rest and some of them have also vetoed their stance on Taiwan. So the alliance from Taiwan to China, they shifted it, and China has invested in that country. Multiple.
Yeah, so that's actually a good point.
Yeah, so it comes with a set. So it comes with a set of rules, not like strict rules. Just say, like you acknowledge the one China policy, and we can do business with each other.
Basically,
right?
you do me this favor, I'll do you a favor.
That's called the political influence that China is going into right now. Yeah. But let's talk about the economic.
So are they doing? They're not really doing favors for Africa, though. That's the thing, right?
No,
but it's kind of like scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Yeah.
No, we can dive into that.
That is just the political side of it. That's just one area. Because if you really think about it, China is the big dog. Africa doesn't have any bargaining power in this relationship. China is a big boy. Yeah. You know, I mean, second biggest economy in the world, have over 2.7 billion people. They're a big dog compared to any African nation that is.
But the thing is, why can't we just go to other countries, right? Why do we need to?
The reasons why we go to China is because China has less sellotape, has less resistance to get to that money and those loans. Yep. So let's break that down. So majority of the Belt and Road Initiative in Africa has to do with loans and infrastructure projects. A lot of them, like 90% of them is infrastructure projects, like transportation, you know what I mean? Major buildings, manufacturing, ports and stuff like that. Exactly. Mining. Those are a lot of things that, you know, come with the Belt and Road initiatives and stuff that are done in different African nations.
So what's the agenda for it? What's the agenda for it?
This comes with loans. One of the agendas is that China, I think personally, wants to project power and influence over certain areas, and plus it needs those minerals. China has over 1.7 billion people, right? Yep. And they are transitioning into a service and high functioning society. So they are probably going to be shifting toward manufacturing, away from manufacturing and more into higher technological jobs and you know, an economy basically.
So pretty much people are going to be losing. It's kind of like they're going to be automating a lot of the jobs that they currently have. Yeah,
it's not as if they're going to automate. They have to shift it somewhere else. Where the reason why China became China is because of the West. They want to do those manufacturing jobs, and they moved the jobs to China basically. China will probably want to do the same thing. This is one of the reasons people have theorized of why China is collaborating with a lot of African nations. And where's there an abundance of people, low skilled, you know what I mean, and young and vibrant, Africa is a place to be, basically. Yeah. You know, we check all those boxes, right? And another reason is, this is a major one, it's called debt traps, right?
Actually, before we get into that, because the debt trap itself is more like a theory thing, right? It's not necessarily like a. It's not
factually based. This is a theory I'm saying. Why? What does China have to do with that, right?
Yeah.
So,
going back to the thing about like their influence and then like giving power, right? And then like back to the economic thing about like we have the labor. They are moving from manufacturing. This is one of the reasons. Low skilled jobs to Africa, right? When I was doing some research, I heard that like the gains that they make with new projects that they do in China doesn't necessarily yield as much profit anymore. So they're trying to now move those projects to Africa. So pretty much if they are going to embark on a new road construction or a new I don't know, like building like commercial markets and all that, like the profit that they gain is not necessarily as high anymore as it used to be, just because there's so much of these things already available in China at this point.
Yeah.
So now they're now trying to invest in all these things in Africa because the profit margins are just way higher because of the lack.
Yeah.
Because of the pure lack of all these things.
Yes, and you're definitely right about that. But also don't forget, Africa needs the infrastructure too. This is a two-way street.
Yeah, we need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
So Africa is benefiting from the skill and labor of Chinese workers in terms of improving their, economy and establishing those key infrastructures. You know what I mean? Like I said, ports, roads, mining and stuff like that. But another key thing to keep in part is that China, 90% of their projects are infrastructure, right?
Yep.
If you truly want to help a nation improve, which China says is a win-win situation, right? They are also bringing in a lot of Chinese that work on this project. If it's a win-win situation and you're a smart African nation, wouldn't you suggest that you should also have like an educational part or like a mentorship part of this program, or so like the African people
to make us more self-sustaining.
So the local people there can learn, improve, and be able to take away like replace those Chinese for those specific
with
positions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
but if there are very few projects that have ever happened like that. I'm not saying that there isn't, but there are very few projects like that happen between China and African nations.
Yeah. So with that being said, like I was obviously like trying to prepare for this, right? Like, and I was looking into like something like, because that's also one worry. I was like, are the Chinese people like going to be taking African, not necessarily taking African jobs, because they are technically creating jobs for us, right? Like, so the jobs are not there. They bring their investment, they bring their projects, they bring all these things.
The infrastructure,
we don't have the skills, we don't have all these things, right?
Stuff like that.
And funny thing is that I found out that like 90% of the companies, of the Chinese companies in Africa, are actually privately owned. Yeah. So they're not necessarily like government-run programs that are trying to.
Let me just say this. Anything that is privately owned in China, it's still government. It's still government run.
That's what I was thinking about. That's I was like, I know that thing can be very wonky. That's why I'm like, I don't really understand the way China operates in a way, because we say one thing that with China is like that thing with the Chinese elements or with Chinese characteristics. They have communism with Chinese characteristics. But one thing is like with most of these companies though, 89% of them, 89% of the workers there are actually locally born Africans.
Yeah, like you need low skilled labor.
Yeah. But then it goes back to what you were saying before, though. Like, but when you now start climbing your way up to like managerial level, things and all that, you start seeing the number dwindling. It dwindled down all the way to like 40%. The rest of them are all Chinese people. So it's kind of like that. Like, well, are you trying to help us, or are you just trying to find more jobs for your people to move into?
So remember, like China,
like a very
China is an extremely big nation. Like those people need jobs. And like, that's one of the reasons why US has so many Chinese, immigrants here. Yeah. If you were on student visas, I mean, a huge amount of them, Indians and China, have the same problem. Their population is so large.
Even Nigeria,
exactly. Nigeria, not as big as India, China though.
No, I'm not saying it's as big, but I'm just saying that it's kind of like similar to us. Yeah, that's why we're all over the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we have a lot of people. Yeah,
we just have a lot of people, and those people, obviously, they want to export, get the best opportunity for themselves. Less competition means more jobs for yourself. You know what I mean? Exactly. So it's definitely beneficial for people to export their skills to other nations, right? Rather than competing with other similar people of the same skill at their specific nations. So that's an element you can consider in why there are a lot of private companies that are in Africa running those projects.
Yeah. So can we now talk about like, because we're looking at China and Africa, right? Can we talk about some of the benefits and then some of the cons of China being in Africa, and then we can kind of like break down like whether it's been overall
I'll say
like
this,
a good thing or a bad thing.
I think one of the good things about having China is the financial side, the money. China has a lot of money to give,
bro.
Right? And China is willing to do things that the West are not willing to do. West have a lot of barriers, have a lot of restrictions, a lot of rules. China is willing to overlook that. And sometimes their loans are extremely cheap. You know what I mean? Even to like low interest rates or none at all.
Very low interest loans.
Or even none at all, right?
Especially for poor credit countries, right? You know how like normally when you're trying to apply for a loan, they check your credit score and all these things. If you have bad credit, you're not going to get the loan. Right? It's the same thing when like countries are borrowing money to African countries. It's like if you see that the country has like poor credit ratings, they're not going to give you money, or then they're going to try to be like, oh, you have to establish some democratic systems and all these things.
But it's kind of like
China.
But it's kind of
what is it?
It's kind of like a catch-22. Like the countries are poor, but they need the infrastructure to grow.
They need the money, right?
Yeah, but how you going to get the infrastructure if you don't have the money in the first place? I mean, one of the reasons.
If you don't have the money,
one of the reasons why
to pay off your debts.
One of the reasons why the US dollar is the capital of the world, is the currency of the world, is because of during World War II. After World War II, sorry, when the Allied people won and Europe was destroyed, United States gave basically Europe a whole bunch of money to rebuild their economy, right? But we've never seen that kind of access to financial institutions in Africa.
But the thing though is like, maybe the institution is not there, but we've received so much money. Like to me, I see Africa like when I think of Africa as this analogy is lucky best up, but it's just like, I feel like we're sugar babies.
No,
right? Like we're collecting, but the thing is, we're sugar babies that they also capitalize on, right? So it's kind of like we're collecting money. Like big sugar daddy, China, America, all these guys, they'll bring money, dump on us, and then they're like, okay, the only thing we want is your resources, and then maybe we can get some land here and there and things like that. And then the corrupt governments will now be signing us off like that.
Chisom, there's no way we're sugar babies. We're a starved, abused child. That's what I believe that we are.
You think? Okay.
I believe that we're starved and abused.
You think we're abused?
Yeah.
But we're also gaining something from China.
Yeah.
No. What I mean by
we're not abused by China.
No.
Actually, we are.
China.
We are.
I would say this. Let's break it down. All right. This is when we're entering the West side of things, because we're going to break down the West connections to the, actually we can get into that right now. The West connection towards Africa. We have a colonial past, an extreme colonial past. One of the biggest companies in France has extreme colonial past. I think it's what is called. Is it Nestle? Nestle.
The chocolate company.
Saint Gobain. Like a lot of French companies have a lot of ties towards. I mean, even in the UK, these big multinational companies have huge colonial past, right? But what I'm trying to say is this: a lot of reasons why Africa is destabilized I'm not saying that it's the only reason, but a major reason is our colonial ties to the West. You know what I mean? Like the UK,
we broke this down in that capitalism versus socialism episode, right?
The UK siding with Nigeria in the Biafra War. The French government propping up coups in Africa. The US using the FBI or CIA to get what's this guy from Libya?
Gaddafi.
Yeah, Gaddafi. You know what I mean? So a lot of external forces have been placed on Africa, and there's a system in place to keep us poor. We have our iPhones for a reason. You know what I mean? Obviously the people in the West will be like, we don't want child labor and stuff like that. But they know that the iPhones haven't, there's a clear connection between child labor and the iPhones that we're using currently. It's clear as day. But for technical reasons, Apple say, we're using third parties. We don't know where they got the resources from. We don't know. I mean, we told them,
you claim ignorance.
They'll be ignorance basically. They'll say that we legally made them sign this contract that they're not using child labor, but we all know it's fucking bullshit. It's like middleman after middleman after middleman, right?
I mean, that's also one of the reasons why China is very successful, right? Because when it comes to ethics, they don't really care. They just use they do whatever they need to do. That's why they also fund like all these African countries that they are saying, why would you fund all these people with poor credit ratings? China doesn't give a shit. They're like, we'll fund you as long as you sign our deal. You get what I'm saying?
Chinese are basically street shooters. They have no agenda to hide because they are one party state. Well, it looks extremely bad that the US government is out here sponsoring child labor. It will look hypocritical.
Hypocritical, right?
And especially the West. The West is guilty of that kind of shit. You know what I mean? So,
but they are freaking hypocrites.
Yeah, extreme hypocrites.
But I think as we kind of concluded in that previous episode, right? The bulk of Africa's problem is Africa, though. It's not really America or these guys, right? Obviously, it's the fact that we allow them to come, even though we do have the past and all that. But right now, what is really holding us back right now is really just our corrupt governments. And how that has seeped into every facet of society. Yeah, but because we're the ones signing all these contracts and all these deals, signing away our resources, stealing.
But the history of guns in Africa. A lot of them come from the United States of America. You know what I mean? A lot of the guns are sold from there and sold to all these extremely bad nations. But you see, America said that, buy our guns. We don't care of the ethics and stuff like that, right? But they're putting it in the hands of extreme dictatorships, if that makes sense. I mean, United has a contract with Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean?
At the end of the day, it's business.
It's self-interest.
That's what they will look at. It's all business.
Extreme,
like the only
extreme
the thing is,
self-interest.
America tries to look good with it, but
Yeah.
they have all their backyard.
Yeah.
China are just like, well, not, I mean, China still tries to be good,
Yeah.
to look good in a sense, but they don't care as much as
Yeah.
looking good as America
Yeah.
does, right? So when China does their best stuff, she's just like, I mean,
We
is
just
are
block it
is
from
illegal?
our own people. Our people will not find out.
Is
You know what I mean? The
exactly.
Great Wall of China, the internet, the Great Wall of China is a thing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? The Great Firewall. That's what it's called.
Yeah, the Great Firewall.
So that is an extremely important thing to look at when you're talking about with the West and Africa. That colonial ties. And one of the reasons why we're so hesitant in terms of doing things with them, because they have a history of abusing us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Extremely bad. I mean, one of the Biafra is a good example of that. I'm sure Cameroon has its own past with France as well. Like, look at the French government basically controlling the currencies of all the francophone, nations in Africa. Like, what are you doing controlling?
It's very interesting. And France is apparently the West.
Yeah, like,
And
they're claiming, to be so-called allies and stuff like that. They're not allies. Yeah. If they were true allies, they won't start complaining about the Africans, West Africans that are immigrating over there. You feel me? That's we should close the border, or they'll stop sponsoring Morocco to close their border and let all those West Africans enter their nations. Yeah. But that's all bullshit, right? That's all bullshit. We know it's all political agenda and trying to be, see virtuosos basically in front of your peers that have the higher moral ground.
Yeah, and one thing African leaders also talk about, even though obviously African leaders are corrupt as hell, but some of them make some good points, right? They're like, when they're doing business with China respects the nation's individuality, and they respect the culture as well. So it's almost like it's always a very let me finish the point. Then we'll talk about why I disagree. Right?
Yeah.
That's what these leaders are saying. Right? It's kind of like they respect the nation's individuality and sovereignty, and then they're also more respectful. And they kind of like the cultural ties are almost very similar in a sense. You know how like we're Africa and China in terms of like respect and how they talk to people and value people. When they're doing business with the West feels like a very, should I say, like a fatherly figure, like they are doing philanthropy, like they're looking down on us in the sense that like, oh, we're giving them aids, we're doing all these things. That's kind of like the messaging that the leaders have said, So why do you disagree with that?
I'll completely disagree. I don't think China gives a shit about Africa. Personally, I think China, even the respect factor is not a thing. I think it's also a political agenda for them, right?
I mean,
and they have to position. Let me finish. They have to position themselves in a certain way to show acceptance for a deal to happen, right?
Yes.
If you look at how West Africans are treated in China compared to how West Africans are treated in Western nations, they are completely two different sides of things.
Yeah.
There's human rights
Yep.
given to people in Europe. There's none of that in China. China will literally imprison your ass, and there's nothing that Nigeria can say about it or anything like that. So I'm not talking about Africans in China, by the way. I'm talking about country doing business with country, right? This is country between country. China between Nigeria, China between Angola. And that sovereignty stuff is not true as well. The respecting sovereignty part that you said, Chisom, right? That is definitely not true because of China.
Why?
China has threatened specific African countries that if they default on their debt, they will take a certain part of their land or property.
I mean that's collateral, fam.
Yeah, but that
is part of. So it's kind of like you sign a deal.
Yeah,
right. It's part of the deal.
But you're signing a deal with the devil, basically. That's what
I mean.
That's what it is. So,
okay. What thing is this, right? Like respecting sovereignty is different from when I make a deal with you and I'm calling to collect the agreement that we made.
But it's
right?
not abuse. It's like kind of an
it might be abuse or no, but at the end of the day, it's legal abuse.
No, but
right?
it's not. But that doesn't matter. You can say that there was legal abuse in the
exploitation
of Africa.
No, but what I'm saying is this: like that doesn't tie into the argument of sovereignty.
No, but you said respect
right?
sovereignty. Don't respect it.
Not respecting sovereignty will be me forcefully going into a country and taking it over by force.
Okay,
right? That's not respecting sovereignty. Respecting sovereignty will be like if I go there and then we negotiate a deal, and then the leaders of that country agrees with the terms and conditions of the deal, and then I collect my part of the deal. That is me respecting your sovereignty because we made an agreement.
Okay, so
right,
so we can disagree in terms of what sovereignty means. So actually, with your point, it actually makes sense what you're saying because of the United States has a whole history of going into countries, not even United States, the West has a whole history of coming into countries and like literally just
collecting by force. Yeah,
exactly.
That's the whole colonialism and
yeah.
slave trade and shit like that.
Yeah. Not even that. Even after, post
after the fact.
Yeah.
Like Hawaii and all these
United States has a whole Guam. No, United States they colonize, man. They don't
colonize
care.
it,
They do
man.
their
Even
thing.
like modern day
Shout out to them, man, because we're about to colonize Cameroon too as well. So it's okay. I'm joking.
That's all Peter, fam. That's all Peter. That's all Peter.
Cameroonians, I'm joking. But I know you guys want to be Nigerian, so it's
Bole,
okay. You
fight
can
for
join
your
us.
people, man.
You
Bole,
can
fight.
join us. Cameroon, you can join
Actually,
us.
Bole
don't
Loki
wanna
wants to be
join you.
Nigerian. Bole Loki wants to be
We do
Nigerian.
All right, but back to the point. So I think the West has always had a stronghold in Africa because of its colonial past. But
Yeah.
China is just coming in like a brick wall, right? And
Yeah.
that's like the West is kind of like shaking about that.
They're becoming the new sugar daddy.
Yes, basically. And like a whole different type of sugar daddy with no more. I was like, I'll go give you the
we
money.
don't-
You know what I mean? Do me, I do you, win-win situation. That's what
Win-win
China is
situation.
saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the West is kind of shocked about that. Like, like we can't have like China have like a whole sphere of influence on a whole continent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of the reasons that got China like right into the news was because of the two bases, new military base it has in Africa. In Djibouti,
They have two?
They have two now. In Djibouti, which is in Ethiopia, I believe, right?
Djibouti, yeah. Djibouti is the one that I know of. I thought they only had one.
No, they have a.
So I know America has in Djibouti, UK has in Djibouti, Germany has in Djibouti.
Yeah,
Djibouti
yeah.
is just a whole mess. Like they have a bunch of military bases in all these countries. Man.
Yes.
Sorry, Djibouti. Wait, where's the second one?
And I believe the second one is in. I'm trying to look for the quote. And the second one is in Equatorial Guinea.
Equatorial Guinea.
Yeah.
Wait, when they get that second base?
I don't know when they got that. I think it's just recently, like in the last 2 years or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So China has now
Yeah.
2 military bases in
Yep.
In
Africa.
Do you know how many America has?
America has probably over 200.
Now I'm talking about in Africa specifically.
With Africa, America has a lot.
Yeah.
America has a lot. Like I
That's
think
the thing,
America
like-
has a lot in Mali.
They probably have the most.
Yeah, America has a lot. But it is that America likes being the only person
The
that
only one,
has it,
yeah.
right? They are monopolists. And I can't
Yeah.
blame them. That's the only way you control your power, right? Your
Yeah.
sphere of influence. Right? So when they see China doing some dabbling, they're like, what are you doing over there, China? Right? America doesn't like doesn't like competition like that. It's like if we do we want to just completely destroy you and be the only people that have control and power.
Like pretty much America wants to compete with itself.
Yes.
Right. So they want Texas and California to compete with each other. You know,
Yeah.
New York and which other big cities there? DC or somewhere
Florida
to
or
compete.
something.
You know, Florida. Yeah. That's it.
Well,
but like,
I mean,
they don't compete with
that's-
China, Russia, and all these guys.
Forget about the ethics behind that. That works
Yeah.
for America, and that makes America one of the strongest nations, or the strongest nation in the world.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So right now, there's this kind of like argument, like in February 17th. That's probably in the past right now, but the EU and Africa is having a summit where they're going to discuss. It's not yet decided, but some people in the EU want to have
With the
like
EU, that's the European Union.
the European Union want to have like a fund for Africa.
Okay.
To compete against China, what China is doing with the Belt and Road Initiative, right? But it's not decided yet. But the summit is in February 17th, which should be in the past right now. So it has happened. So
so I guess we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But
So
some
we're
EU nations
recording
are
ahead
like-
of that.
Some EU nations are like, nah, fam, we don't have the money for
G.
that.
Wait,
bruh.
so how would that work? So they want to give Africa money?
Yeah, it's kind of like a collaboration. It's kind of like how the Belt and Road Initiative is the collaboration between China and Africa. It's going to be like that. Like, oh, we're going to give you these resources and stuff like that to improve Africa, right? And hopefully so and so happens. Basically, I believe one of the, let me see if I can get. So it's going to be built on 5 partnerships. A partnership for green transition and energy access, a partnership for digital transformation, a partnership for sustainable growth and jobs, a partnership for peace and governance, and a partnership of migration and mobility. So if you think about that, probably they want Africa to be democratic. They don't want it to go to communist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They put all these caveats in there.
Yeah.
You know,
Let's be honest. I mean, I want Africa to be democratic. I don't want us to be ruled by one trash ass party.
authoritarian.
Right?
Yeah.
They want peace. What do I mean by peace? They want control. Let's be honest with that.
Yeah.
They want sustainable growth and jobs. You know, probably they want their private companies to have access into the African market.
Yeah.
Officially. These are just assumptions I'm making. This is not what they said though. But like obviously we know the past of the West.
The past.
We know the
from
past.
The past you can make inferences.
They want digital transformation. That means they want access towards the digital transformation of Africa.
Wi-Fi tech, all that
Exactly.
stuff,
You know what I mean? Probably is. The thing is, Africa is so weak. It has to be built. We need someone else to build that for us.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what can we do? And
I think we need other people when it comes to like things like expertise, experience, because they have the experience. We don't really have the experience. But when it comes to actually like management, if we have good governments to manage all these things for us, we don't need all these guys to manage it.
Yeah.
But
we don't have
our
that.
history of management has been trash. You know, like everyone is corrupt. No one is actually try to move things forward. You know, but I think we can now break it down, right? Like, because what you're just explaining right now, I didn't even know about this, right? But we can, if we break down what the what's it called, the what's that thing you were trying to allude to, the debt trap, right? If we break that down and how pretty much this is the theory that the West has, right? Against
that's
China,
what they're pushing. They're like,
that's what they're pushing,
China
right?
is like
It's trying to trap us,
all the whole
Africa.
The whole of Africa. Actually, there's a website.
If we explain that, then we can now compare it to what the EU guys are trying to do right now.
Yeah, because it sounds very similar, kind of.
Very similar.
Like, it's just another China.
Boleh, exactly, right? And it's just kind of like we don't know what they're going to ask for.
Yeah,
we know this money is not obviously going to be free, even though obviously I'm saying sugar daddy.
Yeah,
it's kind of sugar daddy with forced. That's not with forced marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like they will take over you completely.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we should break down this debt trap narrative.
Yeah,
and compare and contrast.
Because that's what has been like being the poster, child of like, oh, China is taking over Africa. You know what I mean? It's basically the debt trapping. I mean, there's a whole website online for people to find out how much debt, the official records that have been published of how much each African nation has.
We can link in the.
I mean, let me give
in the description.
Yeah, let me give an example. The most, I believe, the country with the most. Let me see.
It's probably Angola. Because I know they were threatening to take Angola's airport recently, like that was like a whole big thing. But China was like, we've never done that in the past, so don't worry, we're not trying to.
Yeah, Nigeria is actually quite a lot.
Oh yeah, Nigeria, bro.
Nigeria is doing some vibes, some list. All right, so the most is Chisholm, you're right. The most is Angola.
Yeah,
but Angola. You also understand like Africa has key resources. I mean, that's what we're known for.
That's the thing.
That's what I know for. Actually, China has a whole process. China has a whole process of their infrastructure leading to just mining resources, transporting them, like the train wheel stations, and putting them on a port to export to China. You know what I mean?
That's pretty much what they did.
So basically, China has a whole movement
system
in that, a whole system, and obviously that's fearing US because the US is like, like they're taking over critical resources, right? And the US is like, no, you guys cannot be taking over critical resources because of, you guys will have something over us, basically. Yeah. And US is like, hell nah.
If there's World War III, America also knows that they can win.
Yeah, exactly. So this is another side of the battle as well.
Yeah,
the resources in Africa, which we even forgot to mention, that's a key part.
Exactly.
So in terms of the country with the most Chinese loans, this is on the China Africa Research Institution in Johns Hopkins. I believe we can leave a link below for you to guys go check out our website. But the country with the most loans, like Chisholm said, is Angola with $42.6 billion. This
billion with a B.
Billion, bro.
Damn.
That's a whole lot of money. Number 2 is Ethiopia. Shout out to my Ethiopian boys. My Ethiopian girls, you know what I mean? You guys are taking some those Chinese loans. You guys like that shit. Which is $13.7 billion. Next is Zambia with $9.9 billion. Next is Kenya with $9 billion. And we have our big boys, Nigeria with $7.2 billion. Then we have our Cameroonian kings and queens with $6.2 billion. So I mean, there's a huge drop off. There's a huge drop off with Angola. Angola is just 42.6 billion, and we know where that money is going, into the government pocket.
To their government pockets. They say 42.2 billion. Yeah. 40 billion is inside their pockets. Yes. The remaining 2 billion they can share with the rest of
and Angola has critical resources. So I can see China kind of abusing that kind of relationship over there because of they are making a deal with the government, which is extremely corrupt. Yeah. So they can just do whatever they want, basically. That's kind of the bad thing about dealing with China, is that the people don't inherently benefit because they're dealing with corrupt governments, if that makes sense. So it can be,
the people
it can
kind of benefit,
but it can be
if you look at the capitalistic side, if you just look at, let's just forget like economy, countries and all that. If you look at just the capitalistic side itself, the people kind of benefit, but it's an arguable benefit, right? Because when you talk about like there's jobs, people benefit jobs, but the thing is the working conditions are not necessarily the best. Right. The cost of goods come down because there's more innovation, there's more expertise involved in all these things. But at the end of the day, Chinese people are the ones filling up those top positions.
No, what
I
was going to go with that in terms of like they are literally just stealing the resources, and you don't know you don't know the value of those resources. You know what I mean? It's like
no.
You no. What I'm trying to say is that Angola doesn't know. The people don't know. So they might be mining uranium, diamonds, and stuff like that, right?
And just sending
it over to bloody China, right? I mean, low skilled workers will not know the difference. You understand? They don't have the cognitive.
I mean, even if they knew the difference, they wouldn't even be able to do anything.
They don't want to. That's what I'm trying to say. So
they are not even in power.
There's extreme potential of abuse. That's the capitalist side we're talking about, right?
Yeah,
you know.
It's kind of like we signed the deal, so everything is fair game.
Yeah, everything is fair game, right?
Yeah, and it becomes very interesting, and that's why one important thing that we looked at in that previous episode 9, was Seretsekama. The governor, the president of Botswana at the time, and how he used his brain to sign deals to use these like external funds because they didn't have the funds, they didn't have the skills. We saw that the country's education level was extremely low, right? But he brought all these foreign expatriates to come in, establish businesses, train their people so that their people can take over these businesses, make sure that they don't steal their resources, put all these things in place. So it's kind of like it's easy for us to take advantage of all these things.
Yeah.
We sign the right deals. All these companies, they, at the very least, they want to have good relationships with Africa because we have the bread that everybody wants.
Yeah.
Right? So even though we technically don't have a choice in terms of like, bad credit, all these things, it's kind of like, we can still put things in place so that people can so that our resources, we're not just depleting them, we're losing them, but it's kind of like business, right? But we're getting a fair trade back. We're getting jobs for the people are growing, then we can now grow to the point where we're establishing our own businesses so that we can now run our own resources and things like that.
And what you're saying right there is beautiful, but there are very few systems like that or deals like that with China, if that makes sense. I mean, ever since 2000, I believe it's an official statistic. The China has given out loans of up to $152 billion.
Yep.
That's like the more deep GDP than most African nations. You feel me?
Yeah.
Except for
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Do you know what America's zone is?
What's America's zone?
America's given. I don't know.
I don't know America. America doesn't do business in Africa. I'm telling you,
America used to be the most though.
Yes,
they used to be the most.
Yeah,
but then it was like at the turn of the century. That's when they started dropping off, and then China started elevating.
Yes,
right. So but I think America is probably like maybe 30 billion or something like that. Something around that ballpark.
Let's also see the political benefit from that relationship between China and Africa. In the UN, when you're voting or something, you need other countries behind you. So if China has Africa in its pocket, you feel me? It's like,
like not recognizing Taiwan.
Yeah, exactly. Pay
we mentioned before.
Exactly. So pay China, like, yo guys, I did this for you, man. Like, I need you guys to vote this certain way for me, right? Can you guys do that? So it's kind of like that. I mean, the West does it with the US and stuff like that. And also, I mean, another thing is a vaccine. I know you guys know that China was donating vaccines to a lot of African nations.
They promised 1 billion vaccines, right?
Yeah. So it's all this little political influence and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that's happening, and that's why we're calling it the Scramble of Africa.
Of Africa 2.0.
Exactly 2.0. So there's a lot of things that are going on there, and we just wanted to highlight those and to keep Africans, understanding the big picture of like what exactly is going on with your nations, because of this is something that a lot of us don't really discuss, but it's an extremely important topic because of it has to do with our future.
Facts. That's what I'm saying. Especially if we're trying to make a difference and like we're trying to establish things, we have to understand the system that we're going to be fighting against. We're going to be competing with, so that when we go there, we're not just blindsided and then they just cripple us and kill us off. But before we wrap this thing up, I wanted to just kind of like explain what the debt trap thing is, just kind of like in a simple form, so that people can understand it in a clear sense. All right. So pretty much the debt trap, right? There's like 4 steps to it, right? Step 1, China finds an African nation that is in need of funding to build like infrastructure that Peter mentioned before, right? Like railways, ports, airports, things like that, right? Step 2, China offers to fund these projects at very low interest rates, little to nothing, right? Even though and we know that organizations like the International Monetary Fund, like all these Western nations, they don't want to donate all this money because they know that our credit rate is pretty bad. You know, step 3, they'll bring their expertise to actually help us build these projects, right? So if it's ports, all these things, so they have the experience. They just went through their whole what do you call it, infrastructure boom in China fairly recently. You know, so they bring their expertise, help us build all these things, right? But now this is not the controversial part, because everyone agrees with step 1 to 3. But step 4, the West is claiming that China will now claim ownership of these infrastructure and resources
if they default
after
on their
the
loans.
African after we pretty much default on the loans. And their argument is that China knows that this will happen from the start. But they are still funding these projects so that they can take, because generally we put these infrastructure projects as collateral towards the loan. Right. So if we default on it, then they have to take over. That's why they're talking about taking over Angola's airports. They're talking about like getting spaces in all these countries, and they're saying that obviously they're trying to bolster military power and all that stuff. So, but then China's argument is just like, we've actually never really done that before, though. And if you actually look at the research, there's no place where you find that China has actually done it. You know, like they've actually taken another country's resource that defaulted from the loan. So
the only possibility was like, I believe, and it wasn't really that they even took over it. It was just
the one in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, Sri Lanka.
Yeah, the one in Sri Lanka.
But that's a whole
different
topic. But it's not that like people were using that as an example, but that's not clear cut. Basically,
it's really not clear cut. If you want, we can link in like a video that we watched, because I think we watched the same video, Pizza. That right? A video that we watched where we got like this information from, and then we can link in the description below. But bottom line is, the West is saying one thing, China is saying another thing. Bottom line is, everybody wants a piece of Africa.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the bottom line.
They don't want these people. They don't want these people. Like when the West claims population control, I just call bullshit. You know what I mean? Because no one is complaining about the West controlling its own population. In fact, they even want to have a population boom for themselves. They're like, oh wait, the West is not having enough babies, right? But when it comes to Africa, it's like, oh, you guys are having too many babies. I mean, why don't we be the ones to have too many babies and you guys don't have any babies?
No,
have they ever asked themselves that kind of question? But the whole thing is, you know,
we can bring
embedded in racism,
from Africa here,
elitism, colonialism, and stuff like that. So I think it's really important for Africans to understand that, like, the West may act like your friend, may look like your friend, but nah, it's never been like that. All right.
It's pretty much everybody.
Educate yourself, basically.
Yeah.
China is not your friend either.
No one is your friend. That's like everybody will act like they try to be your friend, but you don't have any friends.
The only friends that we can have is ourselves. But even in fact, we cannot even really be that much of a close friend.
Our governments,
right? But we can do better, stronger together. I believe that.
Yeah.
If we have a idea.
What I think we need to do, obviously, like, countries need to improve on their individual nation as a whole. You know, like. And I'm not discounting the benefits that all these outside investment
ECOWAS needs to be
brings to us. That's what I'm saying. But like, we need to now improve the power of ECOWAS, improve the power of African Union.
Yeah.
Right. So when they're talking about this European Union shit, when they are trying to collaborate, let's also let's give them money so that we can take over their shit too. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's just a concept of divide and conquer. You know what I mean? A lot of reasons why ECOWAS is very unstable and unsure is because of France influence on ECOWAS with the French colonies. You know what I mean? When ECOWAS wants to do something that France don't like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, create his own currency, you know, it will call one of his French nations and be like, yo, you guys can't be doing this kind of stuff. It's going to affect our francs. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, cut that shit out. And the stuff won't pass. So it's a whole political. This is like, how can a fucking African country tell France, I don't like what you're doing, cut it off? Do you think France will listen? You know what I mean? But France will do it on the low. You know what I mean? Say, yo, like Angola or like, you know, Cote d'Ivoire, like, you guys are doing something that we don't like over there. You know what I mean? Cut it off.
Yeah.
So the truth is that they are very self-interested. You be self-interested too.
We need to look out for ourselves.
Yeah, and that is the only way you can make deals with them. So, you know, I do think that overall, the so-called Scramble for Africa can be a really good thing, because it can bring two people of opposite sides on the negotiating table, right? And putting us in the middle where we can take advantage of those, or it can be extremely destructive, where it's just a whole bunch of abuse.
We just lose everything.
And the people are not benefiting from anything.
Yeah.
So it's really important for us to be knowledgeable about what's going on and be able to navigate a way where it can be beneficial for Africans, right, and not just for the West and China trying to gain political
it has to
or
be
economical
beneficial for us.
power.
It has
Exactly.
to, because like there are a lot of Africans that don't even believe that Africa is going to change in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Like at this point in time, that unique sport, and I don't want to beat the dead horse, but we should take a look at Sarah Takama. Like this guy, like it's not even that complicated. Get your deals, sign better deals, reduce your corruption small. Like even if you're going to embezzle, at least embezzle with sense. You don't have to embezzle.
Don't embezzle, guys. Don't
like,
embezzle.
you don't have to embezzle. That's what I'm saying. Like for me, it's like even saying don't embezzle is almost like a stretch for me. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? But just like, okay, like if they give us 10 billion, you embezzle 1, leave 9 for us. You get what I'm saying? But so they'll embezzle 9.5, and that 0.5 that is left, they'll now use that one to pay salaries and
Yeah.
But bro, at the end of the day, China is not your friend, America is not your friend. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Right. And like
that should be the opinion of a lot of people. I mean, it's not as if being like not having not being a friend is something bad. You know what I mean?
just because they're not a friend doesn't mean they're an enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Straight up.
enemy,
You don't need to be enemies with them. You can be friendly with them. I think that's perfectly okay. Because African culture is very open and accepting of people in certain situations, right? But don't be confused and take them for granted. Basically, they will abuse the fuck out of you. I mean, the United States abuse the fuck out of their own people. Why the hell would they care about another nation? Right,
like all these hardcore businesses, like these countries, they are hardcore businessmen on steroids. Yeah, looking out for their own self-interest.
This is a capitalist world, man. Yep. So you have to be extremely wise in the decisions you make and make sure that you're not being abused or being taken advantage of. Yep. So we wish Africa the best, but this is just to educate people on the topic. It's just a conversation. But I hope that we can have more conversations like this which can lead towards action. Because that's the most important part. We can talk about this in the next 50 years and start complaining about China versus where. But if this doesn't result in action, we're wasting our time. No this was just a topic just to educate the masses that I feel is really important, because this was my idea to talk about this. And
it's more on the political side.
Yeah. So I think it's an important topic for every African to be acknowledgeable about. Yeah. So I mean, the Afrojournal is holistic at the end of the day, right? We're not just trying to be one side. Like, obviously, the fun stuff is always fun. It's always fun to do all these things, like the relationship talks, all the banter, things like that. But then we still need to get serious every now and then. And we should throw in our little jokes here and there. Yeah. But this is very important for us to take in. And then I think the next step is for us to make concrete plans to see how we can actually start making a difference at our level. For sure. That's also one of the points of this podcast. You know, like you don't have to wait till the governor of the president of Nigeria before you start doing stuff. Exactly. You go from Anambra State. Yeah. Or, you're claiming Ambazonia. You don't have to wait till you start ruling. Yeah. Before you make a change. You can start from where you are. Yeah. But first is education. Education is how we liberate people. I mean, research. So you guys leave your comments below, man. Talking about the whole topic. Tell us what you think about the episode. Was it informative enough? Could we criticize us? Could we have done a better job? Was there any misinformation that we spewed in this episode, basically? So we'll remember, if we lie, it's all jokes. Yeah. I love that. So you guys, thank you so much for listening. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. It's your boy. Yeah. But let's get the Afrojournal entries of the journal entries. Let's go first. Should I go first? Go first.
Go first.
Alright. I mean, my journal entry today is pretty straightforward. I beg, guys, we need to step up, educate yourself, and we need to start doing. Like, I like the way our generation, when I looked at like NSAS and all these things, how we stepped up. Mm-hmm. That's the energy I want to see from us, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we need to start making sure that everything we're doing in whatever interest you have, right? Please make sure it ties back to how we can better it. So if you're interested in makeup, if you're interested in tech, if you're interested in football, whatever it is, make sure it ties back to the motherland, because at the end of the day, we're bridging this gap. Right, but we don't want one side of the bridge to be booming, mm-hmm. and then the other side is just dead, mm-hmm. and then no one gives a shit about crossing that bridge. Mm-hmm. So we need to make sure that we're transferring wealth from here to there, because here we're doing great things. Yeah, we need to transfer the wealth over there as well. Yeah. So that's my journal entry for today. Bola?
Awesome. My journal entry for today is shit, I forgot.
Take your time. We can edit it.
Damn, what was it? It was good too. Oh,
Have
okay,
you-
I got it.
Very-
My journal entry for today is: not everyone is your friend.
Hey,
Not everyone is your friend. Be
I like
careful
that.
with who you're making your money moves with.
Okay.
Mm,
I like
facts.
that. True.
I like that.
All right. My journal entry is that I think. Oh no, I know. Black is where I don't know where the most creative, smartest, greatest people on this face of the planet. That's what I truly believe.
Yep.
But we've been abused for a very long time, and it's time for us to step up and show why Africa is the greatest and we're number one. We're the origin of humanity. Okay, we need to remind them what you came from us, boys. All right, we know our stuff. There's a reason. All right, there's a reason why you guys fled our in here. All right, that's my journal entry, man. But I love everyone, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Your
guys.
extra luggage, your chef Pirero, your philosopher, your educator, your professor. Thank you, Chiki and Chibuzo Alioko Jr.
Period. And Sir Glazed Donut, today we received a history lesson. Fully.
Well, actually, how'd you like this? How'd you like this?
I understand it's very informative, and it's something that should take precedent, but I just don't like history. So when I hear things like this, I try to be engaged. I try to really comprehend it, but not everything sticks.
Yeah,
But I thought it was good.
That's
I learned a lot even from doing the research. China's doing some fucked up shit. But
also the West.
yeah. Everyone's doing fucked up shit.
Yeah.
But it's your
I
girl.
like that. Oh yeah, and it's your toasted caramel. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your mommy, tell your daddy that China is doing some things out there. Tell them to come and hear it here. America, they're not your friend, but your friendly neighborhood economist. Chisom, AGK, Jared.
So it was good to see
Jeremiah.
Spider-Man.
Me too.
I want to say my number to about. I never be cringe. Chisom, AGK, Jared, Jeremiah, Okafor.
And we out. Peace.